We call this style of problem a plug-in problem, primarily because the values of the quantities change depending on what we plug into them. Now, when you get this style of problem advice, the first thing you want to do is plug in a simple value that's easy to work with. Here, let's start by plugging in n equals 2. If we plug that into quantity A, we get 250. And if we plug that into quantity B, we get 215, showing us that quantity A can be bigger than quantity B. Now, the mistake a lot of people make with this style problem is to plug in just one value. That's not what you want to do. Once you get an initial relationship like A can be bigger than B, your real mission is to see whether you can disprove that relationship by plugging in different sorts of values. Now, typically with these plug-in problems, when you plug in, we recommend plugging in 3 values that are very, very different. For example, if you're going to plug in a positive, then try a negative, then try 0. Here, however, there's a constraint. N has to be a value greater than 1. So we can't use negatives. We can't use 0. Look, if that's your situation and you start small, try a big number. Or if you started with a big number, try a small number. Try things that are different as possible. Unfortunately, here there's one further complication, which is if we plug in very big numbers, the arithmetic's going to get pretty difficult. Let's see if we can get away with plugging in somewhat smaller values just to keep the arithmetic difficulty at a minimum. For example, let's see what happens when n is 3. When we plug that into quantity A, 125 times 3 is 375. If you can't do that work easily on your own, think about 125. We break it down into 100 plus 25, right? So 3 times the 100 is 300, and 3 times the 25 is 75. That's how we get 375. In the case of quantity B, 3 minus 1 is 2, and 2 times 215, that's 430. And what that shows us, quantity B can actually be bigger than quantity A. And remember, anytime you have more than one relationship between the quantities, like here, A was bigger than B, and then we saw that B was bigger than A, that means you don't have enough information to answer the question, and that's why in this case, the correct answer is D.